Hi, it's the 11th of January 2023. Quick allotment and gardening update. I haven't seen the allotment since before Christmas. Did some weeding, clearing. We came to the conclusion it was really too much for us to have a double allotment. So then the problem arises, which one do you let go of? Because we've got fruit bushes planted on both of them. But after thinking about it, one's got the shed, so we've got to keep that one, and the other one has to go, even though it has lots of gooseberry bushes and cherry trees. But the cherry trees, although they produce cherries, the birds always get them before we do, so that's not such a great loss. So now what I want to talk about really is the general, the weather situation, I suppose, and our garden at home. And it has been really odd weather this year. Before Christmas, I think we had a couple of days of frost when the pond froze over, but that was following on from such mild weather that the apricot tree had first put out leaves and then put out some flower buds, and they were just opening up, and then the frost came and killed them all. And you're thinking, come on, tree, do you not know what time of year it is? And I was in the garden just now. I said it was the 11th of January, and there's snowdrops coming into flower, and that's how mild it is. So things are all a bit strange this year, and I don't know how it will develop. Maybe we'll suddenly get an Arctic March or something, everything will get killed off that we've planted. Anyway, so in the polytunnel, there's some little salad plants that I sowed the seeds rather late in the year. I thought it's very mild, so maybe they'll grow, and they have germinated, but they're not burgeoning, not enough so that you can pluck them and eat them. However, I did find some chickweed in the polytunnel, and I thought, well, it's a shame to waste it. Let's see if it tastes as horrible as I remember it last time I tried it a few years ago. And it's okay. Also, I'm reading this book at the moment, Food for Life, The New Science of Eating Well by Tim Spector, and I haven't got very far with it. It's a huge fat book. But basically what he seems to be saying is that we need to vary our diets a whole lot more and eat a whole lot more plant materials, plant products, which we've kind of eliminated by, we've started buying all our food from a supermarket instead of foraging around and growing stuff, and we're just not getting the nutrients that we need to be optimally healthy. So that's an interesting book, and I look forward to learning a lot. But I was thinking about that chickweed, and I was thinking maybe I have been too hasty in rejecting wild plants. Okay, they don't taste as exciting as plants that you've grown yourself, that have been bred and selected for flavour and size and, durability. But on the other hand, you don't need to eat much of them. Or if you make a soup, or if you make a stew, or even if you have a salad, you can just put little snippets from the wild garden in, and you'll be getting those, I don't know what they call them, plant chemicals. Well, there's very many plant chemicals which help us with our digestion and our microbiome and all that stuff, good stuff. So this is one of my New Year's resolutions is I'm going to try harder to use wild plants. Now, it's an odd situation in the UK because I recently learned that there has been legislation passed forbidding anyone from taking any wild plant and any wild animal. This seems awfully draconian and unnecessary, actually. Who wants to protect pigeons and seagulls? We've got pigeons all over our roof. They're breeding behind our solar panels, and they poop everywhere, and the gutters are clogged, and we can't find anyone for love or money to clear it up and prevent them from coming back. And you think to yourself, well, why can't I just trap these pigeons and cook them up for supper? Wouldn't that be an ecological solution? But A, I can't get on the roof easily. B, I don't know how to trap them. And C, there is this slightly worrying legislation, although I probably shouldn't take it too seriously. After all, how is anybody going to police every single little plant and animal in the land? So we're not producing a lot of food in the garden at the moment. There's the polytunnel, and then behind the polytunnel we've got a stand of raspberries, which is becoming so raddled with bindweed that every year we think we're going to dig them all up and clean the area. But they do produce fruit, and so this year I've put compost on again, and we'll see what happens next year. I'll just have to go and pick all the bindweed out by hand, won't I? The kiwi vine is continuing to disappoint. If you ever want to plant kiwis in your garden, please don't pick the self-fertile variety. It just produces these tiny little fruits covered in hairs, and they don't ripen till the first frost. So this year that was December. And then they all fall off the tree and they're squishy under your feet and you can slip on them. And who can be bothered to cut these things open and squeeze out the flesh, which admittedly is delicious, from those horrible hairy skins? Or are we meant to eat the skins? I don't know. I'd be quite happy to take down the whole arch, which is falling apart, and the kiwi vine with it and start again. So I've been thinking it would be nice to actually increase the food production in the garden as opposed to the allotment, because it's obviously more accessible. And the problem with that is that it was designed when we first moved into this house as a kind of more of a show garden. Hubby was very keen on doing a huge pond as a feature and a shade garden with New Zealand fern and lots of trellising and an arch across the middle. And then, because we were selling books, he built a large shed down the bottom. He'd also already built a shed near the polytunnel, and so we've got a plethora of structures. And it's quite hard to persuade him that perhaps we don't need to keep them all anymore. He built a wonderful tea house overlooking the pond, and it's been there for years, and it's rotting away. It hasn't got a proper floor. And he's obviously reluctant to destroy his handiwork. But on the other hand, we can't use it unless he puts a lot of work into repairing it. And the thing is, it does cast shade on the back area where we have a little lawn next to the big shed. And we could easily, if we got rid of the tea house, make that into more of a border next to the shed with flowers, maybe a few cabbages. And I think you have to kind of redesign things every so often. That's my attitude, but it's difficult to persuade some people. So we'll see how that goes. So that's it for now, and I'll see you next time. Bye.